This is Wethington, and we are going to annotate Quakers in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. After you finish annotating and you have answered all the questions, you will post your questions to actively learn. So that will be what you actually score on the assessment. Excuse me, on the assignment will be 1 grade, and then your annotation grade will be another grade. Here in the classroom, we've already started just a little bit annotating. So we've gone on and we've highlighted Quakers in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And as we know, that is the heading of the passage. So go on and type heading. And we were just reading the assignment directions. Many of the first settlers in the new land were fleeing religious persecution in England. I had just asked y'all, who knows what religious persecution is? And people on Zoom, feel free to chime in too. Do any of y'all know what religious persecution is? What is it? Right. And they're persecuted because of their religion. And persecution could mean like being shunned by a community or being forced to move somewhere else or being physically assaulted or even death, which in that case would be a martyr. But anyway. So many of the first settlers in the new land were fleeing religious persecution. So please highlight. And we are using the yellow highlighter for this. We will use other colors for some other stuff, and I'll get to that in a minute. So many first settlers were fleeing religious persecution in England. As you read about the Quakers, take notes of the struggles they faced and William Penn's dream to establish a new safe haven. Ask yourself what it would have been like to live in Quaker, Pennsylvania. What freedoms would have been available to you? So your first question, and those of you in the classroom and on Zoom, since I'm making this video, I'm going to kind of move fast. If there's anything that you need that we didn't do, you can just go back and watch the video. So the first question that you will answer, and don't answer it just yet, but the first one will be, what do you know about the Quakers from the colonial time period? Please restate the question and answer using complete sentences. So we're not going to answer this right now, but those of you out here in the audience, classroom, whatever, I haven't decided what I'm going to call it yet. How would you restate the question? Y'all remember what restating the question means? Okay. Yes. Right, but what would you write? So what would you write from what do you know about the Quakers from the colonial time period? Anna? What I know about the Quakers from the colonial time period. Okay, good. So let's say, from what I know about the Quakers from the colonial time period, and then ... you would say that they were like a peaceful people, or they came over here, or whatever it is that you know about them, you will type it right there. Actually, you'll type your answer here, but that's how you restate your question. And don't worry about answering it right now. You'll have time to go back. So let's scoot on. All right, so Quakers in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. We've already talked about it once, but that is the what? Look at me. What is this? Heading. Heading. Good. All right. So, central to the Quaker way of life was the meeting house. Here, Quakers would come together to worship. The above image depicts one of London's Quaker meeting houses. So choose a different highlighter color. Choose green and highlight this here. All right, so this is a picture, but that's not what we're going to call it. And this is something that describes this picture. So what is this that describes? Caption. And what is this here? What is this picture? We don't call it a picture, we call it a what? No. Illustration. All right, cool. All All right, you will see that that the paragraphs have already been numbered, so we don't need to number the paragraphs. And normally we would read all the questions, but since the questions are split up by the paragraphs, we're just going to read like the next question coming up. So question 2, William Penn saw what opportunity when he inherited a large claim of land in the New World. So we will highlight this using yellow. William Penn saw what opportunity when he inherited land in the New World. So did he see the opportunity that he would be able to sell the new land and buy an estate in Britain for the Quakers? Did he see that he would be able to establish a colony that was free from Quakers? Would he do that? A colony that is free from Quakers. Is he a Quaker? Yes. So would he want to create a colony that has no Quakers? No. He would be able to settle the new land with members of the Church of England. All right, so let's read this. William Penn was a dreamer. He also had the king over a barrel. Charles II owed his father a huge debt. To repay the Penns, William was awarded an enormous tract of land in the New World. Please highlight and make sure you're using your yellow highlighter. Charles II owed his father a huge debt. To repay, William was awarded an enormous tract of land in the New World. Immediately he saw possibilities. People of his faith, the Quakers, had suffered serious persecution in England. With some good advertising, he might be able to establish a religious refuge. He might even be able to turn a profit. Slowly the wheels began to spin. In 1861, his dream became a reality. Please highlight, he saw possibilities. So let's highlight, he might be able to establish a religious refuge. All right, so let's read paragraph 2. Quakers, or the Society of Friends, had suffered greatly in England. Please highlight, Quakers had suffered greatly in England. As religious dissenters of the Church of England, that means that they do not follow the Church of England. They were targets much like the Separatists and the Puritans. But Friends were also devout pacifists. Pacifists are people that don't fight in any wars. Come up here, as religious dissenters of the Church of England, they were they were targets. They would not fight any of England's wars. So they would not fight in any wars, nor pay taxes if they believed the proceeds would assist a military venture. They believed in total equality. Therefore, Quakers would not bow down to nobles. Even the king would not receive the courtesy of a tipped hat. They refused to take oaths, so their allegiance to the crown was always in question. Of all the Quaker families that came to the New World, over 3/4 of the male heads of household had spent time in an English jail. All right, we're going to skip question 2 because you'll answer that later. All right, so here, choose your green highlighter and highlight William Penn, founder of Pennsylvania, Penn's Woods, and planter of Philadelphia, established a very liberal government by 17th century standards. Religious freedom and good relations with Native Americans were two keystones of Penn's style. So what is this here? What do we title that? What is this called? And then up here, this picture of William Penn is illustration. All right, go. The Quakers of Penn's colony, like their counterparts across the Delaware River in New Jersey, established an extremely liberal government for the 17th century. Religious freedom was granted, and there was no tax-supported church. Penn insisted on developing good relations with Native Americans. Women saw greater freedom in Quaker society than elsewhere, as they were allowed to participate fully in Quaker meetings. Pennsylvania, or Penn's Woods, benefited from the vision of its founder. Well advertised throughout Europe, skilled artisans and farmers flocked to the new colony. Highlight Pennsylvania benefited from the visions of its founder. Skilled artisans and farmers flocked to the new colony. With Philadelphia as its capital, Pennsylvania soon became the keystone of the English colonies. New Jersey was owned by Quakers even before Penn's experiment, and the remnants of New Sweden, now called Delaware, also fell under the Friends' sphere of influence. William Penn's dream had come true. All right, so we're skipping question 3. What was the impact of Penn's rigorous advertising campaign? And up here is where it talks about his advertising. So we're going to come back and highlight well advertised throughout Europe. So Quakers in England opposed anyone who wanted to leave for Pennsylvania. Did it say anything about that? No. Quakers from all other parts of Europe began to migrate to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania was a secret experiment that few heard about, or Penn angered the other colonies because his was becoming more popular. And your last question is, write a short advertisement for the new Pennsylvania colony listing the freedoms that could be enjoyed there. Okay, so what you're going to do now is wait for me just a second. Okay, so now you will finish your highlighting. You will answer the questions, and then you'll turn this in to this assignment here. After you answer the questions, then I need you to go put the multiple choice. I need you to answer all the questions and actively learn, actually. Okay? All right. And for those of you that are watching this video, if you have any questions, as always, please email me, and I'd be happy to help. Y'all have a great day. Hold on.